Prisons are built to keep dangerous criminals away from society. High walls, locked gates, armed guards, and strict rules are supposed to make escape impossible. Yet throughout Africa's history, some prisoners have managed to do what many believed could never happen. They escaped from prisons that were considered highly secure. Some used intelligence, others depended on luck. A few received help from people inside the prison. These dramatic escapes shocked governments, frightened communities, and became stories that people still talk about today. This documentary explores some of Africa's most notorious prison escapes. It is not about celebrating criminals. Instead, it examines how these escapes happened, the weaknesses they exposed, and the lessons they taught. Every escape tells a story of planning, desperation, human error, and the constant battle between security and freedom. These are the stories behind Africa's most notorious prison escapes. South Africa was under apartheid in the 1970s. Many people who fought against the government were arrested and sent to prison. One of the most famous prison escapes happened in Pretoria Central Prison. Among the prisoners were 3 anti-apartheid activists. They believed they had done nothing wrong because they were fighting for equal rights. However, the government treated them as dangerous criminals. The prison was heavily guarded. Steel doors separated prisoners from freedom. Guards patrolled the hallways day and night. Every movement was watched carefully. But one prisoner refused to give up hope. He studied every lock he could see. He carefully watched how guards opened and closed the doors. Using pieces of wood, he secretly carved copies of the prison keys. It took months of careful work. One mistake could have exposed the entire plan. Night after night, he tested the wooden keys without making noise. Slowly, he discovered which key opened each door. Finally, one evening, the prisoners decided it was time. One lock opened, then another. Then another. They quietly walked through several security doors. The guards noticed nothing unusual. Reaching the outside wall was only part of the challenge. They still had to leave the prison grounds without attracting attention. Disguised in ordinary clothes, they calmly walked past people who had no idea they were escaped prisoners. By the time prison officers realized what had happened, the men were already gone. The escape embarrassed the South African government. Security systems were reviewed, locks were replaced, and prison procedures changed. Years later, one of the escapees wrote a book about the experience. The remarkable story even became a Hollywood movie, introducing the escape to audiences around the world. Nigeria has one of Africa's largest prison systems. Many prisons are overcrowded and hold thousands of inmates. Heavy rain can become an unexpected enemy. One rainy night, strong storms hit a correctional facility. Water flooded parts of the prison compound. Visibility became poor, and guards struggled to monitor every section. Some prisoners had been planning an escape for weeks. The storm created the perfect opportunity. As thunder echoed across the sky, prisoners broke through weakened sections of the prison fence. Others forced open damaged doors. Confusion spread quickly. Guards tried to organize a response, but darkness and heavy rain slowed them down. Dozens of prisoners escaped into nearby communities. Police immediately launched a nationwide search. Roadblocks appeared across major highway. Security officers searched forests, villages, and abandoned buildings. Many escapees were captured within days. Others remained missing for months. The incident raised serious questions about prison maintenance and emergency planning. Authorities admitted that aging prison buildings needed urgent repairs. The escape showed that nature itself can sometimes become an unexpected partner in a prison break. Uganda has experienced several dramatic prison escapes, but one stands out above the rest. A group of dangerous inmates spent months observing the daily routine inside the prison. They knew exactly when guards changed shifts. They knew which officers were alert and which were less careful. One afternoon, during a routine exercise period, the prisoners suddenly attacked prison officers. The surprise was complete. The inmates seized weapons and forced their way through several security points. Gunfire echoed across the prison compound. Some officers fought back bravely, others called for reinforcements. Several prisoners climbed over the prison walls while others escaped through damaged gates. Security forces quickly surrounded the area. Helicopters joined the search. Police checkpoints appeared across the region. Some escapees were captured within hours. Others survived on the run for weeks before eventually being arrested. The violent escape reminded prison authorities that even a short moment of lost control can have serious consequences. During times of national celebration, security services often focus on protecting public events. One holiday season, prisoners inside a Mozambican prison noticed something unusual. Guard numbers had been reduced. Many officers were busy with duties outside the prison. The inmates secretly prepared for weeks. They collected simple tools. They memorized guard movements. Then they acted. The prisoners overpowered several guards before forcing open gates. Hundreds of inmates poured into nearby streets. Residents watched in shock as prisoners disappeared into the city. Police immediately warned people to stay indoors. The military joined the search operation. Roads leading out of the city were sealed. Many prisoners were recaptured. Some surrendered peacefully after realizing they had nowhere to hide. The escape became one of the country's biggest security challenges in years. It also demonstrated how quickly prison security can collapse when staffing becomes limited. Kenya has experienced several well-known prison escape attempts over the years. In one remarkable case, an inmate used patience instead of violence. He carefully earned the trust of prison officers. He followed every rule. He worked hard during assigned duties. Eventually, guards believed he posed little risk. One day, while working outside a secure section of the prison, he quietly slipped away. Hours passed before anyone noticed. The search began immediately. Police circulated photographs across the country. Citizens were asked to report any sightings. Days later, investigators discovered that the escapee had planned every step long before leaving the prison. He had arranged transportation. He had prepared hiding places. He had contacts ready to help. Despite the detailed planning, he was eventually found and arrested. The case reminded prison officers that even prisoners who appear calm can still be planning an escape. Digging tunnels has been used for centuries by prisoners around the world. In one African prison, several inmates secretly began digging beneath their cell. The work was exhausting. Every handful of soil had to be hidden. Noise had to be kept to a minimum. The prisoners worked only at night. The tunnel grew slowly, day after day, week after week, month after month. Finally, the tunnel reached beyond the prison wall. Late one evening, the prisoners crawled through the narrow passage. One after another, they disappeared into the darkness. Morning came. The guards counted prisoners. Something was wrong. Several inmates were missing. A search uncovered the tunnel hidden beneath a bed inside the prison cell. Investigators were stunned by the amount of work involved. The prisoners had managed to dig for months without being discovered. Following the escape, prisons across the region strengthened floor inspections and increased monitoring for underground digging. Not every prison escape depends on force. Some rely entirely on deception. In one remarkable case, a prisoner pretended to suffer from a serious illness. His condition appeared to worsen each day. Medical staff recommended hospital treatment. The prisoner was transferred under guard. At the hospital, everything seemed normal. Doctors treated him while officers stood nearby. Then, during a carefully planned distraction, the prisoner escaped through another exit. By the time guards realized what had happened, he had disappeared. Investigators later believed outside helpers had coordinated the escape. The incident forced authorities to introduce stricter hospital security procedures for prisoners requiring medical care. Escaping prison is only the beginning. Life on the run is difficult. Escapees must avoid police. They often cannot contact family. They constantly change locations. Many struggle to find food, money, or shelter. Some surrender voluntarily, others are captured after routine police checks. Modern technology has made long-term escape increasingly difficult. Security cameras, mobile phone tracking, fingerprint databases, facial recognition, international police cooperation. These tools make it harder than ever for fugitives to remain hidden. Many famous escapees eventually return to prison after weeks, months, or even years on the run. Every successful prison escape exposes weaknesses. Sometimes the problem is poor infrastructure. Sometimes guards lack enough training. Sometimes corruption plays a role. Sometimes overcrowding overwhelms prison systems. Governments across Africa have invested millions in improving prison security. Old locks have been replaced. Electronic surveillance has expanded. Security cameras now monitor more prison areas. Guard training has improved. Regular inspections help identify weaknesses before prisoners can exploit them. Still, experts agree that no prison can ever be completely escape-proof. As long as people seek freedom, someone will always try to find a way out. The challenge is staying one step ahead. The stories of Africa's most notorious prison escapes are dramatic, surprising, and unforgettable. They reveal the determination of prisoners, the pressure faced by correctional officers, and the constant struggle to maintain security inside prison walls. Some escapees relied on patience, others used violence, some depended on weather, others trusted deception. But almost every escape shared one thing in common: careful planning. These incidents changed prison systems across the continent. They exposed weaknesses, inspired security reforms, and reminded authorities that even the strongest walls are only as effective as the people protecting them. For law enforcement agencies, every escape became an opportunity to improve. For historians, these stories remain fascinating chapters in Africa's past. And for the public, they serve as a reminder that truth can sometimes be more astonishing than fiction. As prison security continues to evolve with modern technology, one question remains: will there ever be a prison from which no one can escape? Only time will tell.